Well, let me start by welcoming you to the first K92 Mining Kainantu virtual site tour. We'll start with the presentation and, as always, with our initial forward-looking and cautionary statements, which you can obviously read at your leisure. So the virtual tour agenda, we'll start with a corporate investment opportunity overview by myself, John Lewin, CEO and Director, followed up with the surface infrastructure tour, Warren Ewan, who's our Senior VP Operations, Kainantu Mine Geology tour with Chris Muller, our VP of Exploration, Mining Operations, Warren Ewan, our Senior VP Ops again, process plant tour, which I'll cover, and then we'll go on to the growth side, covered by myself and again Chris Muller, and then a wrap up and an opportunity for Q&A with the management team, which will also include Dave Medlek, the VP Business Development, and Justin Blanchet, our CFO. So K92 Mining, as we see it, very much a unique opportunity. Self-funded production growth. We've commissioned stage 2, achieved 30,000 ounces production in Q4 of last year, and we've given guidance this year of 115 to 135,000 ounces gold equivalent. Stage 3 expansion will take us up to plus 315,000 ounces gold equivalent, and we're looking to commence commissioning of that late 2023. Achieved very significant resource growth, and we see ourselves continuing to do that from 2007, where we had 200,000 ounces of measured and indicated and 1.8 million of inferred, to the current 1.3 million of measured and indicated and 3.9 million inferred. So currently 10 drill rigs operating. If you look at 2018, we had 2. So we've got a lot of diamond drill rigs, obviously focused on expanding that resource and evaluating new opportunities. So this is very much large, high-grade Tier 1 asset. Low-cost underground production. We've been around 17 grams per ton since we started commercial production. If we look at all-in sustaining costs in 2020, $770 per ounce, and our outlook that we've given is $825 to $875 all-in sustaining costs 2021, with cash costs sitting $515 to $565. Got a large land package, and really importantly, especially in somewhere like PNG, we've got an experienced team with a strong, proven track record. In terms of our corporate structure, 220 million shares on issue and another 16 million options. So when you look at our institutional shareholder base, you see we've got some very, very substantial institutional shareholders, very strong base in North America, but also growing in Europe and Australia. And coverage by obviously the very best of the analysts in the industry. So just briefly looking at mine location and where we are. So obviously we're in Papua New Guinea. We are in what's called the Markham Valley. We're about 200 k's up the road from the port of Lae, which is where we import all of our material and we export our concentrate. In the context of PNG, we are in about the best possible location that you can get. We are just off the sealed highway that goes all the way up to Porgera, so it goes up into the mining area there and into the LNG areas. But we are still very much in the lowlands. We're in the valley, so therefore relatively low rainfall. We're looking at rainfall of 2 to 2.5 meters per year. versus Octedi would be 8 to 10 meters, Porgera 6 to 8 meters. So this is for PNG at least. It's a low rainfall area, and at the same time, if we look at the more immediate surrounds of the mine itself, you can see that we've got the Yonki hydroelectric facility. Is just a few kilometers from us, and that's where we get our grid power, although we have complete installed standby power as well. And we've also got the Goosap airfield, just where we turn off from the sealed road. The Markham Valley we're in, over 20 kilometers wide where we are. So we have all of the real estate that we require to build any facilities that require tailings dam. We're one of only 2 mines in the country with a tailings dam. We've got plenty of land to do that. So surrounding the mine lease itself, we've got over 700 square kilometers of exploration ground, and it is some of the most prospective ground in the country. Currently, we employ over 1,000 people on site, of which about 96% are PNG nationals. So this is very much a strongly focused PNG mine and company. In terms of the resource itself, when you look at it as an underground resource plus 5 million ounces, it's about the 3rd highest grade for a listed company in the world. So this is very much a large, high-grade underground resource. And that quality of that resource and that discovery has been recognized this year by the PDAC with the award of the Thayer Lindsley Trophy for Best Global Discovery 2021. And importantly, that has been recognized in country, where both the company K92 and the government have celebrated that award. The government, in fact, as you can see, took out full-page advertisements to congratulate the company, but also to celebrate that it's a recognition of the potential for PNG. And as part of that process, we recently handed over the PDAC trophy to the MRA through the minister's office, and that trophy now sits in MRA in the Mineral House, MRA's headquarters. And again, this is very much a celebration for the country of the potential, and certainly we've got a lot of very, very good coverage in the media as a result of that, and great support from all levels of government. Important issue for us in country is ESG and the socially responsible mining, as we call it. And some of the areas that we really focus on are obviously, first and foremost, employment. As I mentioned, 96% of our people, I think right now it's about 1,100, are actually PNG nationals. So we have about 40 expats. So we've got the lowest percentage of the expats in the country of any mine. In addition to jobs, we focus on business opportunities, and there's multiple business opportunities that we've created, both major in terms of joint ventures, which are worth tens of millions of kina per annum, to minor contracts such as grass cutting and what have you, and waste removal. From an environmental perspective, we've got an extremely low footprint. We're an underground operation, traditional tailings impoundment. And when we look at the next phase of expansion, which we'll get into, you'll see that we're looking at putting most of the tailings back underground as backfill, so paste fill. So we'll continue to have an extremely small footprint. With the community as well, a strong focus on education, both in terms of providing in excess of 50 scholarships for our local communities for their children to go tertiary education, and also in the provision of gap funding for primary schools, for instance, where the government pays about 60% of the cost of the primary school for children. We're paying the balance. A lot of long-term social and economic development initiatives focusing around infrastructure such as schools, clinics, and roads. And this is fundamentally important when you're in PNG. As many of you will have heard me say before, it is an incredibly diverse country. We're talking 8 million people, over 800 languages, and less than 300,000 taxpayers. So the vast majority of people in the country are actually subsistence farmers, and the most important thing to those people is land. That is something that we're very focused on and recognize, deal with, both in the exploration and in the operation of the mine. So with that, I'll hand over to Warren, who will go through the surface infrastructure. Thank you.
This is Warren Ewan from K92 Mining, Senior Vice President of Operations. And I'm going to walk you through this couple of infrastructure slides. This first slide alone shows the admin building, where our admin, finance, technical services and exploration team are housed. And into the background is the laydown yard, the supply, and then in the further is the mill and plant area. The second shot is an aerial shot across the Markham Valley. In the lower left side of the screen is the Kumian camp on the main access road. That access road goes through to the highway, which runs between Markham. It's down the Markham Valley between Madang and Lay. And where the access road meets the highway is the Gutap airstrip, which is also used for site access. On the far right side of the screen is the tailings storage facility. A little bit further up from that tailings storage facility is the processing plant on the lower left side of the screen. More to the center of the screen is the 800 portal, and on the left-hand side is the Kora drilling site, and further to the left is some other exploration targets. Just to the right side of the portal, up further again, is the Blue Lake exploration targets. The Kumian mine camp is located about 1,500 metres down from the process plant. Here at the Kumian camp, we have about 850 beds in about 450 rooms. Over the course of 2021, the camps are getting expanded to house over 1,000 personnel in over 550 rooms. The camp is well set up with an undercover basketball area, a field for volleyball, touch rugby, an in-house gym. Also, over the course of 2020, was built a quarantine area for personnel to keep them aside during the quarantine period. The camp is also well set up with a large messing facility and single rooms, double rooms, and dormitories. Mine access road goes past the surface magazine facility and onto the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the mine tailings facility. Center screen, we have the mine laydown yard and a large waste dump for the next level tailings lift. Here's the admin building for the technical services staff, finance, and also the exploration team. Then there's the container facility and the mine supply, as well as some contractor work areas. Here we have the helicopter pad for servicing the drill sites, exploration support. And over on the left-hand side, the mill plant and crushing area. Center screen, we also have a batching plant on site for all the construction projects, as well as the underground ground support. and last is the rompad at the end of at the top of the hill.
My name is Chris Muller, and I shall be delivering a virtual tour of the Kainantu mine geology. Here we are looking along an ore drive hosting the K2 lode prior to stoping. Papua New Guinea is an amalgamation of accreted terrains driven by the collision of the Australian and Pacific tectonic plates. Many large porphyry and epithermal deposits occur here, in particular along arc transfer structures. Kainantu is no exception, where it resides in the New Guinea thrust belt 100 kilometres to the northwest of the enormous high-grade Wafi-Golpu copper-gold deposit. The Kora resource lies to the south of Arakompa and is considered an intermediate sulfidation deposit of intrusive affinity, while Arakompa is a low sulfidation deposit. Two main veins, K1 and K2, constitute the bulk of the resource and are currently being mined by K92. The discovery cost per gold equivalent ounce was nominal, owing to the high degree of drilling success, with both lodes being intersected in most holes. There are a number of different mineralization styles at Kora, all of which contain a degree of sulfide, essentially chalcopyrite and pyrite, and sometimes bornite. The main styles are vuggy quartz sulfide, brecciated quartz sulfide, massive sulfide, brecciated massive sulfide, and banded quartz sulfide, as well as combinations of these. Now, a brief video showing core from the Kora K2 vein in drill hole KMDD 0177. The core from Kora, in particular Kora North, is some of the most spectacular I have ever seen. Kora remains the flagship deposit at Kainantu, with multiple high-grade, wide, continuous lodes. At Kora, there are multiple phases of massive sulfide. In this case, very late chalcopyrite coming in after the quartz. This is part of the whole 177 core, which ran 14.6 metres at 5.96 grams gold, 35 grams silver and 3.32% copper for 11.5 grams gold equivalent. At Kora, often the very highest grades are associated with this cryptocrystalline quartz with hematite. These vuggy textures also support bonanza grades at Kora. Bornite intergrown with chalcopyrite is a common constituent in the Kora lodes. Well, I hope that was a good insight to the brilliance of the Kora lodes. To finish this section, I leave you with images of the high-grade, wide and continuous lodes representing both the K1 vein and the K2 vein, as viewed from inside the ore drives in the Kainantu mine.
This is Warren Ewan from K92 Mining, and I'm going to walk you through the underground operations slide pack. The first shot here is one of the three AD45 trucks coming out of the Kora Incline with a load of ore. About 2.5 kilometres up the incline, the team have been mining from the Kora ore zone, which has got two clearly defined veins, predominantly the K1 and the K2. They are subvertical and vary from 3 to 5 metres in width and sometimes wider. The ore have also been noted to be continuous to the south over 1 kilometre and continues to be open, and vertically also about 1 kilometre and is also noted to be open at depth. The mine is accessed, as mentioned, by an incline, which certainly has some advantages for both dewatering and for materials transport. The mine now is well set up with some capital infrastructure, including the mine ventilation, some passing bays in the incline, more and more dewatering, and also the electrical infrastructure. The mining team themselves, predominantly K92 personnel, operating a fleet of Sandvik development jumbos and Sandvik long hole drill, and also some loaders, and the fleet of trucks, AD45. Initially, mining was with jumbo open stoping, cut and fill. And over the course of 2020, the mine moved to more of a transverse long hole open stoping using an evoker and also a modified evoker, backfilling with the mine development waste. Initially, the long hole open stope mined with both up holes and down holes, and charging with a bulk emulsion explosive has been quite successful, as can be seen in the photo, with the hanger wall and footwall standing up well, so with minimal dilution. Initially, bogging has been free bogging with very short long hole panels, and the mine over the course of 2021 will move to larger stopes and bringing some of the fleet of 517 loaders into tele-remote. Kainantu mine has continually shown an expansion of the Kora. Mine total movement has continued to increase quarter on quarter, other than the state of emergency, and the mine had to make some rapid adjustments. And then the team have come out the other end and continued again to increase. And the same has happened with the underground mine development. And the mine will continue to increase over 2021 and beyond. Since commercial production back in 2018, the mine has also increased ounce output quarter on quarter, with all sustaining costs very competitive, between $545 and about $890 an ounce. The mine has consistently been able to deliver a positive ounce reconciliation from the resource model through to the grade control model, and then out to the ounces produced. The mine initially developed on the right side of the screen up from the north, the 800 incline. This slide is a shot of the 2021 mine plan, and you can see there's multiple development levels as the mine progresses further to the south, which is the left side of the screen, and then vertically up and down. There is now multiple mining fronts, including more recently the Judd lode, which is getting developed from 2021 onwards. And this has the number of levels have increased the flexibility with more faces, and been able to open up larger and larger stopes for production to increase and continue to increase into 2021. We are now going to present a video of the surface portal area and the underground. The Kora underground mining portal and mine workings is located at about 6.5 kilometres up from the processing plant. There, on a small footprint, is located both the ore pad and the waste pad, where the material is transferred from the underground haulage trucks across to the surface haulage trucks. Also on the 800 level is a small temporary workshop and a low-down area and go bay for the mining equipment. In the 800 portal itself, in the underground, the fleet consists of 5 diamond drills operated by the K92 mining staff and also one of our contractors. In addition to the fleet, there are 5 twin boom development jumbos, including this 422 jumbo with full auto drill. In addition, there's 4 underground loaders for moving the material from the faces or the stopes to the stockpile, including this 517 you see here, loading one of our 3 AD45 trucks. And the AD45 haulage fleet move the material back down to the ROM so it can be loaded out. Also located on the 800 portal level is 2 new additional portals. The twin inclines are designed to be able to access the way below the existing Kora ore body, and with the potential to increase the productivity and capability of the mine for a lot longer into the future. These twin inclines were only started back in 2020. Also, to soon be start construction on the 800 level will be the new mobile maintenance workshop to house the increased fleet. And also located on the 800 workshop, on the 800 portal pad, is a surface complex for our maintenance team, the mining teams, and all the supervisory staff. This is where all the work is set up and organised and delivered in the pre-start meetings in our mining complex area here.
So moving on to the plant, and this is a photo looking from the ROM down the crusher and towards the main plant. Process flow sheet, relatively straightforward. Two-stage crushing. With the jaw crusher, a secondary cone crusher, and in fact we have a standby built-in secondary cone crusher as well as a result of our recent expansion. Closed circuit, producing a product of approximately minus 15 millimeter, which then goes to the fine ore bin. We also have the capacity to throw the fine ore product to the side as well to act as a stockpile. Controlled feed, approximately 50 tons an hour going into the ball mill. And ball milling product, discharge, cyclone overflow going into the flotation, cyclone underflow, currently going to the flash float, but we're in the process right now of commissioning our gravity circuit as well. So the underflow split between flash float and the gravity circuit. Flash float actually currently recovers up to 50% of both our copper and our gold. The balance recovered in our flotation circuit comprises two parallel lines of 4 roughers each, and then the new circuits which we've installed, which is 4 cleaners and 2 recleaners. Final product, the thickener then through stock tank to pressure filter, where we produce a concentrate running about 200 grams per ton gold, and at this point generally between about 6 and 12% copper. As we move further to the south and get a higher copper head grade, the copper concentrate grade will increase, and also with the commissioning of the gravity circuit. Tailings, as we've previously mentioned, to our tailings dam, and that's got a capacity of approximately 4 million tons. We'll move on now to the virtual tour of the plant. So here we have the plant. We're looking at it from the ROM, and material from the portal brought up by trucks, deposited on the ROM, and then fed into the crusher by a loader. Got a grizzly there, static grizzly, take out any oversized material, and then a vibrating grizzly feeding into our jaw crusher. As you can see, reasonably free-flowing material, even though it contains quite a bit of moisture. Cone crusher is the larger cone crusher that we installed as part of our 400,000 ton per annum expansion, complete with feed system, and then the final crush product minus 15 millimeter going up to the mill, with the oversize obviously returned to the secondary cone crusher. We have an ability to stockpile material as well, so either into the final bin or cast aside as stockpile for when we've got maintenance on the crusher. And as you can see, we've actually got 2 conveyors going back towards the crusher. So we have an installed standby cone crusher at this point in time, the original cone crusher. Feeding up into the mill, so feed controlled by the weightometer to give us the right tonnage going up into the mill. Ball mill, Arakompa, and up into the cyclone overflow going to the flotation, the rougher float, underflow coming into the flash float that you can see just next to the cyclones there. Rougher concentrate goes into the new circuit, which is this new recleaner circuit. Cleaners on the left, roughers on the right. So these were installed as part of the expansion from 200 to 400,000 tons per annum. Final product from the recleaners going into the concentrate thickener, then into the filter press, building shown here, and then to final product, as you can see there, going at about 200 grams per ton. That goes into a 20-ton container down to lay and then shipped overseas. Looking at the tailings dam, we're about 40 meters away from the plant, just over the hill here. And we're basically in a natural amphitheater. It's actually one of the best natural tailings dams almost I've seen, with a wall over the front, constructed from waste rock. As you can see, very good beaching. We are about to raise the wall by 10 meters, and there's a stockpile from underground actually being used for that. So the final part of our virtual tour focuses on what we call growth, and that's both the next phase of growth, stage 3 as we call it, and then also exploration going beyond stage 3 and potentially beyond the Kainantu mine. So that'll be covered by myself and Chris Muller, VP Exploration. So when we look at our immediate growth, that's what we call our stage 3 expansion. We completed the PEA on that last year in 2020. And what we showed was an extremely robust project, NBV5, after tax of 1.5 billion at $1,500. That's very much a tier 1 asset, 318,000 ounces a year. Gold equivalent run rate, initial 12-year mine life, although I'd say if we ran it today, it would probably be longer than that. Self-funded CapEx, 125 million initial pre-expansion capital expenditure. Total expenditure over the 3-year period of 2021, 22, and 23, about 250 million, including sustaining capital and the twin incline. In terms of costs, $362 an ounce gold life of mine, all-in sustaining cost, that's net of byproducts, or sub 500 all-in sustaining cost per gold equivalent ounce. This is very much near-term expansion. We're looking to commence the commissioning of the processing plant in late 2023. And as we'll show you, multiple potential upside opportunities. So when we look at stage 3, twin incline is the long lead item, if you like, for this project. You're looking at 3.5 years to bring the twin incline to where it needs to be to support a project of 1 million tons per annum, which is where the PEA looked at things. Now we committed to that last year, and as at the end of February, we're about 350 meters advanced on both inclines, and the inclines are a 6 by 6.5 and a 5 by 5.5. Incline coming in at a gradient of about 1 in 100 versus the existing incline, which goes in at 1 in 7 and is a 5 by 5. That incline will come into the main Kora deposit about 300 meters below where the existing incline comes in. Incline itself is designed to handle up to 3 million tons per annum and perhaps beyond. So we're not just looking at a twin incline that can do stage 3, we're looking at stage 4 and potentially stage 5. Looking at that further expansion and life extension potential. First of all, when we look at the PEA, we came out with a project, 1 million tons per annum, and it was really focused on maximizing the NPV5. As a result of that, it actually dropped out about 4 million tons at a diluted grade of between 4 and 5 grams per ton, or about 500,000 ounces. And part of what we'll be looking at in the definitive feasibility study is bringing that to account. The options to bring that to account are A, that we expand the new plant, or B, that we fill the existing 400,000 ton per annum plant with that material. So already, just within the existing resource as it was in the PEA, we have the opportunity to bring our production up to 350 to 360,000 ounces. Now, in addition to that, we've got the expansions of the vein field of Kora and the associated high-grade vein systems. And that provides us with multiple opportunities to expand production, not only in the current phase, but in stages 4 and potentially 5 going forward. So when we look at those, firstly, we've got Kora and Kora Deeps. So right now, Kora is about 1,000 meters vertically and 1,000 meters along strike. And within that, we've got our existing resource of 1.1 million ounces of measured and indicated, 3.7 million ounces inferred. From the deeps perspective, basically every hole that we've drilled at depth so far has shown the mineralization continuing. And as many of you would be aware, these sort of systems can go over 2,000 meters deep. So there's certainly a lot of potential at depth. To the south, we're aware that the structure extends about 1 kilometer beyond our mining lease. We have already started drilling in that area, and we'll be focused on extending the resource to the south as well. Judd, a sub-parallel system to Kora, which has a similar strike length to Kora. Importantly, it sits around 150 to 200 meters to the northeast of Kora, which actually means that all of our underground development is sitting between Kora and Judd. So in looking at Judd as an opportunity, it's not about developing out to a new deposit, a new vein system. As we're developing and opening up Kora, on the other side of that development, Judd is sitting there ready to be brought into production. So it really is a great opportunity to significantly add to production and resource. Karempe, sitting out about 400 to 500 meters to the west of Kora. We've started a surface drilling program there. I think the best result we've had to date is about 2.5 meters at 40 grams per ton. And we've gradually been expanding the known strike length of that. So again, there's some very good potential, although very early days. Maniape and Arakompa, 2 historical resources. No drilling's been done there for in excess, I think, of 20 years. But previous work had identified a historical resource of around 800,000 ounces at 9 grams per ton in Arakompa, and 560,000 ounces at 2.2 at Maniape, both down to about 150 to 200 meters. So now I'll hand over to Chris to continue with this one.
At Kora, there has been a major focus on growing the resource and upgrading much of the inferred resources to measured and indicated status through an aggressive expanding drilling program. This image shows the K1 pierce points in white and the K2 pierce points in blue. As mentioned, there is significant growth potential for Kora along strike and at depth. Both the Kora and Judd lodes extend beyond the mining lease boundary to the south, where they are demarcated by outcrop and local workings. The Kora lodes were mined by an Australian in the 1960s and 70s, and some of the historic infrastructure, such as an old stamp mill, still remain on site. Judd vein is akin to Kora in many ways, in that it has an impressive strike length of approximately 2.5 kilometers, is of similar orientation and aspect, and essentially has the same epithermal, intrusive related mineralogy. Like Kora, Judd comprises more than one lode. Judd is only 150 to 200 meters from Kora and just 50 to 100 meters from the main incline. A recent phase 1 drill program commenced on Judd late in the third quarter of 2020, and mining is underway on the 1235 level. The first 4 holes from the Judd phase 1 drill program were reported in November 2020. 3 veins, J1, J2, and J3 were intersected, similar in nature to Kora and the Judd vein bulk sample. Significant high-grade intercepts were returned from 3 holes intersecting the J1 vein, and drill hole JDD 0006 recorded one of the highest grade intercepts at Kainantu mine, as I explain here.
All right, this is Judd hole 6, which recorded a whopping 7.25 meters and 258 grams gold equivalent, intersected very close to the underground workings where the Judd bulk vein sample was taken. This is one of the highest grade intercepts that K92 has drilled within the Kainantu gold mine. Impressive stuff. Judd vein is similar to neighbouring Kora, being an intrusive related epithermal vein system hosted within metasediments. Judd is a multi-phase quartz vein breccia with abundant mineralization styles and fuchsite, together with adularia in fractures. Character sampling reveals that the margins of class are where some of the bonanza grades are held. Classic coliform banded Judd vein. Also with wonderful cockade type textures supporting bonanza gold grades.
Judd vein is largely unexplored and very large areas are completely untested by drilling. There is great scope for expansion of the multiple lodes already identified in 3 disjunct panels of the vein system. Now, some key facts about the Judd vein development. As demonstrated by 3 separate press releases in September and November 2020, and just recently in January this year, the lode widths and particularly the grades are increasing as the Judd ore drive progresses to the south. The most recent announcement revealed an outstanding 65 meters of new development, averaging 3.8 meters at 18.7 grams gold equivalent. The 4.25 ton metallurgical bulk sample reported in November 2020 was also profound, yielding a positive grade reconciliation of 15%. Processing recoveries of the bulk sample were also favorable and similar to those for Kora, with room for optimization. The high-grade Judd concentrate was free of major deleterious or penalty elements and can thus be blended with Kora material. This photograph is testament to Judd vein 1 increasing in tenor towards the south, with massive chalcopyrite ore and quartz vein breccia adorning the southernmost reported development face. The face grade averaged an impressive 5.5 meters at 109.5 grams per ton gold equivalent. And another face, 100 meters to the north of face 63, is in all respects the same as the Kora lodes, with subvertical ribbons of quartz and massive sulfide. Moving to the other side of Kora, but on the same north-south orientation, approximately 450 meters from the Kora underground infrastructure, we have the Karempe lodes. There are multiple veins within the Karempe structure, which have been mapped at surface over a distance of more than 2 kilometers. The mineralogy and chemistry of Karempe are very similar to that at Kora and Judd, But while the latter lodes are hosted in metasediments, those at Karempe are largely within porphyritic diorite, exhibiting strong phyllic alteration. The first holes drilled by K92 were reported in October 2020, including highly significant intercepts in both the Ka1 and Ka2 veins. Mineralization is similar to Kora and Judd, dominated by massive sulfide and quartz, but here hosted in intensely sericite altered diorite. A closer look at this intercept in this short video.
At Karempe, multiple vein intersections have been yielded from the Ka1 lode, including hole 5, which yielded 4.25 meters at 40 grams gold equivalent. At Karempe, high-grade mineralization is hosted within diorite. Therefore, it's quite different from Kora and Judd, which are hosted in phyllites. This is an example of the intricate sulfide, the banded sulfide development at Karempe, in this case from hole 5, which returned 2.45 meters at 40 grams gold equivalent. Just glorious.
Arakompa and Maniape are both situated on exploration license 470 to the northeast of the mining lease. Both have significant high-grade intersections of greater than 15 grams gold, and there are historical resources for each, with nearly 800,000 ounces at 9 grams per tonne gold at Arakompa and 560,000 ounces at Maniape at 2.2 grams gold. The latter lends itself to open pit options. Now, we have focused on the epithermal vein deposits and prospects so far in this presentation. However, we must not lose sight of the porphyry targets, which were the focus of Barrick's extensive exploration campaign during their reign over a 5-year period from 2007. 2 porphyries, Tankanan and Kokofimpa, were drilled by Barrick, but Barrick withdrew from the entire project, having only drilled 3 holes into Kokofimpa. They never drilled A1 headwaters, despite ranking it as a globally significant porphyry target. K92 has been able to access and drill 3 porphyry prospects, namely Yomposa, Yonki, and the Blue Lake Porphyry. The Blue Lake Porphyry complex was discovered by K92 geologists in 2017 as a result of in-depth surface mapping and sampling. Soil geochemical analysis revealed a large coincident gold-copper molybdenum anomaly, with arsenic anomalism corresponding with high sulfidation mineralization in outcrop. As reported in December 2019, nearly all of the 10 diamond holes drilled by K92 ended in porphyry-style gold-copper mineralization. Blue Lake Prospect is the subject of an intensive, systematic current drill program, continuing to identify vectors towards an inferred high-grade porphyry core before deeper targeted drilling. An example of Blue Lake Porphyry core in this short video.
At Blue Lake Katompa Prospect, we have been able to intersect long intervals of propylitic alteration with disseminated chalcopyrite and quartz magnetite chalcopyrite stockwork veins, typical of the outskirts of a very fertile porphyry environment. Most holes at Blue Lake ended in porphyry mineralization, where we intersected an expansive gold-copper shell beneath a prominent lithocap. This is the classic layered lithocap at Blue Lake. At Blue Lake, enegite is present on many of the fractures in the lithocap. Deeper within the lithocap, diaspore and dickite overprint paragonite and sericite. In the Blue Lake Porphyry, pervasive magnetite is very common, as are stockwork quartz chalcopyrite magnetite veins. This is a typical example from the Blue Lake Porphyry, in this case from hole 7, in a long interval, part of a long interval that runs approximately 0.4 grams gold and 0.3% copper.
We will now wrap up with a short video tour of our surface exploration activities. Surface exploration is largely heli supported, and all drill sites are serviced from the mine site, where there is a helicopter permanently based. All heavy materials are transported directly to the drill sites as sling loads, and drill core is taken back to Kumian for processing. This is a drill site at the Blue Lake Porphyry prospect, and another here, while this footage shows the Blue Lake exploration camp. Finally, Blue Lake itself, adjacent to the porphyry and presumably related to the intrusive complex.
In conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for being part of this, our first K92 virtual tour, although I suspect it will not be our last. I hope we've been able to give you some perspective, not only of what's been achieved over the last 3 years since we declared commercial production, but also of what we intend to achieve over the next 3 years. Today, it's been an incredibly exciting journey, but we feel like we're basically still only at the start. The quality of the project, I think, has been recognized this year, with Kora North Discovery receiving the Thayer Lindsley Award. But outcomes, achievements such as we've hopefully been able to outline today are only possible with an outstanding team. And certainly at K92, we believe we've got such a team. So I would like to record my thanks to all of our people, employees and contractors who have made everything we have achieved possible and who will make what we achieve in the future possible. And with that, I think we're now happy to take questions, either myself or the management team that are here with me.